moving to the second last session we have this evening. Up next, we have a young developer who's considered by many publications as the young developer to watch out over the next decade. We are here today to learn from him. I'm lucky to call him a dear friend of mine. So out of the many names which we have given in the industry to them, soul selling agencies, exclusive mandate partners, extended selling arms, sales accelerators, and they have managed to change our industry for the better or worse. But before we choose to partner with any of them, let's focus a little bit about the do's and don'ts. So to talk about this, I would like to call upon a committee member, Nilesh Vohra, Director of Kanchan Developers.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thanks, Kapil, for that kind of introduction. I'm going to share my screen. Is that visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes.
Oh, great. So, firstly, I'm no expert on this subject. I just thought that the best way to learn something is to try and teach it. So I'm going to try and talk about it, so even I can learn about this topic, because it's a never-ending topic. It's a very, very relevant subject in our business, especially in today's scenario. So sales mandates, there's a lot of these now, soul selling agencies, business accelerators, mandate players. There's hundreds of names for them, but they essentially, all of them do the same thing, is to help developers get faster sales. With the cost is a question mark, but to help developers get faster sales. Now, where did all these guys pop up from? I feel, over the last 5 years, when we were going through a bad sales cycle, there were some developers who were also managing to sell. I remember me specifically going through a period where, I'm struggling on a site to sell 2-3 apartments a month. And some developer, in the same neighborhood, managed to sell 100 units in the launch. So it started, making me question my whole existence, and what was I not getting that this person understands? And it was a very uncomfortable period. And then that's when I started, diving deep into this whole, how do I get sales velocity on my projects? And essentially, these mandate players popped up right around that time, where they played on this fear of the developer that, maybe there's something that you don't understand, that the industry is understood. And if you implement this in your organization, you'll be able to, also get velocity. So first basic thing is that you need to, manage your expectations. First thing that you need to understand fundamentally is what is it that you are expecting from the mandate player. I'm going to call these guys mandate players for the rest of this session. There's so many ways you can address them, but mandate players is what I'll call them. So what do you expect? So I think they bring 2 or 3 things to the table. One is people, the power of people, and the second is strategy. So firstly, do you need these people or these mandate players for the people that they bring on board? Just to give you an example, I had a project where I knew my customer was in a 2-kilometer radius. So I had about 3 sales guys on that site, and I realized that the 3 sales guys are not going to be, able to go out in the market as much. So I had, at that time, I tied up with a mandate player who said that he'll put in about 100 people on my site. So for 3 months, I had 100 people on site, and all they did was guerrilla, BTL activities. they touched every single shop in a 2 kilometer radius. They touched every single office, and they did society activities. On that, in that site, we had about 1,500 site visits in 3 months, and we were able to sell about 120 units. So they brought people to the table. Now, I could not have hired 100 people. So this was an expertise that I took from them. So you need to know what is it that you're expecting from them. Now, some sites don't need that people. If you have a site which is in a location where people from all over the city can come, then you don't need people. Then you need strategy. So, how is the mandate player good in strategy? Are there any case studies or previous, case studies where the mandate player has done well? What strategy? If he doesn't have any case studies, then discuss strategy with him. When you're discussing strategy, discuss specific expertise. Is he good in BTL? Is his strength CP consolidation? How will he add to communication design? What closure hacks will be used? Is there anything that he can bring to the table when it comes to customer experience design? Right from when the customer sees your first ad to when the customer comes and gives you a check to the agreement and stuff like that. So discuss these things with the mandate player before you at the negotiation stage only to choose the right partner for you, because a lot of these guys have a lot of different expertise, and it's important that you know why you are bringing that person on board. Secondly, a lot depends on the stage of your project. Broadly, a project can be, purely in terms of sales, can be, divided into 4 stages. One is the launch. By launch, I mean pre-launch, launch, pre-launch, soft launch, all of that is launch. Sustenance, which is after the launch, distress sales, and RTMI is ready to move in. So if your project is a launch project, then the mandate player is very key. You must choose wisely. If the project is a launch project, that is the most attractive to a mandate player. Why is it attracted to a mandate player? Because whenever you launch in a particular micro market, there's always organic bookings that you may get basis on your brand, basis on that location, basis on that particular site where people were anyway going to buy. So all of those organic bookings become billable bookings for your mandate player that he's getting without any effort. So they love that. Also in the launch, as a developer, your appetite for marketing is higher. There is a mystery around, there's an ambition around sales velocity. So you have that attitude, ke, theek hai, hoardings laga do, let's spend a good amount on digital. So mandate players would love that as well. But why you need to be careful is that your best attempt for sales velocity is in the pre-launch and launch stage. Remember that if you fail in velocity, in achieving velocity in the launch stage, it becomes very, very difficult to achieve velocity in the sustenance and the ready to move in stage. So choosing the right player at the launch stage is very, very important. Sustenance is when you've already launched, your work is going on, and now let's say you have about 30% inventory left or 40% inventory left, and now you're selling about 3 to 5 to say 7-8 units a month, and you need a mandate player who can help you sell 15 to 20 a month to support the cash flows. If your project is in sustenance, it's important that you communicate very, very clearly to the mandate player what has worked and what has not worked so far, because the mandate player will come in and he will try all of those things. And so if you've already tried something in the launch stage and that has not worked, then it is important that you communicate this to the mandate player so he doesn't try it again, because he's going to spend your money only doing it. Secondly, set a target, set very, very achievable targets on a weekly and monthly basis. You don't want a player coming in and selling the same amount of units that you were selling before he came in. If there's no value add, if there's no addition in sales, there's no value add really. There are some projects that are distressed projects that you're just not able to sell. In these kind of projects, try and get an expert who is an expert in distress sales. Be kind and open with him. If you might get somebody who needs a contract and will sign with you, but if he's not able to do anything different than you were doing, then what you were doing, then you're only going to be the biggest loser. It's important to understand to see that when a mandate player fails, you are the one failing first. The stake that you have on the project is much larger than the mandate player does. So you have to work with them. And ready to move in, quite frankly, for us, ready to move in is criminal. It's every day is a cost. So if I have ready to move in inventory that I'm not being able to sell, then I'm just filled with anxiety. So I need to get rid of it, because every day it's that money that I could have removed from there and invested somewhere else. So CAC is customer acquisition cost. So a lot of these mandate players now only negotiate the mandate fee when they're first talking to you. It can range for the local players, it can range from 2 to 3% to 4%. To some national players are now charging about 4 to 8%. That is just the mandate fee. The CP payouts on top of that is extra. The advertising is extra. Whatever you're spending on the experience center, the sample flat, the site branding is all extra. All of the sales, salaries, the miscellaneous, I count if my customers having tea on site, that's a cost to me, and I that's a cost of customer acquisition, and I like to get into unit cost of customer acquisition. So I count everything that goes into getting a customer to give me that first check. So this actually adds up to around 10% for most projects, and which is, I mean, I don't know a lot of projects in mature markets that have this kind of even margin. So it's important that you know the entire CAC before you sign a mandate. Try and cap each of these costs with them at the negotiation stage only. A lot of them will, talk about CP slabs with your mandate partner. Ask them what CP slabs they'll be rolling out. Ask them what percentage of the total apartments will be through CPs. What percentage of the total apartments will be direct sales. Ask them how much they'll be spending on advertising. Try and get a media plan from them at the negotiation stage itself. Ask them how many hoardings they're expecting you to put up. Ask them how many, how much they're expecting you to spend on digital, on print, on leaflets. Most of them will ask you to, change the experience center. That they'll complain about how the customer experience is not up to the mark, which is why it's not selling. There will be a lot of song and dance, and it's important that you identify where it is song and dance, and try to eradicate that song and dance. So you have to look for skin in the game. One of the things, a lot of these mandate players are now starting at a fixed kind of flat mandate fee. So one of the things that I usually do is I try to give them a performance slab. The general flavor of negotiation must be that we will penalize you for gross non-performance. If you're telling me that you'll do 100 apartments in 3 months, and if you're not even able to do 15 in 3 months, then that's gross non-performance. So we'll penalize you for gross non-performance and reward you heavily for landslide victories. So if you're saying that you'll do 100 and if you were able to do 150 in 3 months, then that's great. I'm happy to give you a kicker of 1% or some other perks that that you wouldn't have got if you had not performed. So most serious players will agree to this. If a player is not serious, if a player is a fly-by-night operator, they will have a problem with this. So try and set that tone in the negotiation itself that we're in this together, and if you fail, I'm the biggest loser. If the mandate player fails, the developer is the biggest loser, especially in a launch, because you have one attempt. And if you are not able to get velocity in that one attempt, what the mandate player has lost is maybe 2 or 3 months of salary, but what you've lost is a chance at building the entire project with customer money, which comes at zero cost essentially. So try and establish a minimum guarantee of the lowest slab. So let's say if your lowest slab is 40 units, utna to that should come on paper that I'll sell at least 40 units, and if they don't even meet the minimum, even if they don't even meet the lowest slab, then that could be a penalty clause in the contract. Third thing is design for win-win-win. See, the most common mistake that I've seen developers make is that, okay, I will give you 5%. They'll tell the mandate player, I'll give you 5%, but I'm selling for 4,500. You sell this. You sell my units to the customer for 4,800 rupees a square foot. Now that doesn't happen. We often assume that we often underestimate the customer. Essentially, if you are going to do this at the cost of the customer, it is not sustainable. So this win-win-win, the third win is for the customer. You have to come up with a situation where you are winning, the mandate player is winning, and this is not at the cost of the customer is also winning. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but in the long run, if sales has to be sustainable, if velocity has to be repeatable, it cannot come at the cost of the customer.
Nilesh, could you do it in the next 5 minutes, please?
Sure. Data protection, they're spending a lot of money on your behalf, and there's a lot of data that will get collected. You need to have systems for protection and transfer. Make sure that you get all the data by your side. Don't keep a SPOC. Engage with the people that the mandate player has put on site. Identify leakage, pilferage. A lot of these mandate players have retail arms. Be very mindful of that, because then they're collecting all this information, and there's always a conflict of interest of them, collecting that data and using it on other sites. I'll go to the contractual terms. This is more important. So always have a definitive time period. Don't do a 1-year contract. Try and do a 4 to 6 month contract, which you can extend if they're doing well. Don't offer all your inventory, otherwise they'll sell all the best inventory, and then you'll be left over with leftovers. Stage it out. Give them limited inventory in the start. If they have a loan team for home loans, then negotiate the mandate fee accordingly, because they'll get up to 1% from banks for that. So negotiate your mandate fee accordingly. Make sure that the booking form, allotment form formats are only of your formats. They should not have booking forms and allotment forms on site. All offers rolled out, a lot of them do a developer subvention plan, which is 10-90, pay 10% now, 90% on possession. Say no to those plans if it's a launch project. Sometimes they won't even communicate that to you. So make sure that these are approved. Payment terms, try and pay them only on agreement. Some of them will also agree to take the first payment on disbursement if they have a home loan team, because you can tell them that if your home loan team is not efficient, then I cannot pay you till I get my first disbursement. Have cancellation clauses. Have an open termination exit clause. Either party should be able to exit or terminate this agreement within 15 days. Always keep 5% inventory. Don't include all your inventory in the contract. If you have a corporator who comes in and says, "Ki mere ko 500 rupees kam mein do," and you have to give it, then you can't pay him brokerage on that. So stuff like that. Yeah, and mota moti, I'll just conclude by saying that, see, there is no magic wand. You have to work with them, and what they do is also not rocket science. So over the last 2 years, I've realized what they do, and the best strategy is to learn what they do and try and build it in-house, because it's not going to be sustainable to keep outsourcing this. It's an ever-changing environment. So try and learn from these guys what they do best, and try and build that in your organization. That is the best long-term way to continue doing velocity. Thank you.
Hey, Nilesh, thank you so much. Amazing session. A lot of us want to, get mandate partners, like you put it across on our sites for our sales. And as much as we want to do it, not everyone clearly understands the metrics that need to be in place, or the process by which these mandate partners ought to be on board. So I hope Nilesh has given everyone that food of thought, the metrics using which you can get these partners on board. Thank you so much, Nilesh, for being with us. Have a lovely evening, man.
Thanks, Kapil.